Hey everybody, it's Brent in Central Arkansas. Today I'm going to show you a regrow of Madison's cross. And what I mean by that is I created a hybrid between two different squash a long time ago, about 10 years ago. And carrying it out through selections for more than 8 generations, I created a solid open-pollinated yellow summer squash called Madison's Cross. Well, way back 10 years ago, I saved the hybrid seed, the first generation cross between those two. And what I did was I vacuum sealed it and I put it in the freezer. And so this year, I started the seed and they popped just like that, just like they were fresh, brand new. So I was super excited about that. But the reason why I'm regrowing it is because if you look behind me here, you can see that regrow squash here, and you can see, and I'll bring you in closer too, hybrid vigor. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm creating a sister line that I'm hoping will get similar to Madison's Cross. And when this sister line, which I'm calling Madison's Cross Regrow, reaches full open pollinated status for 8 generations, which will take me about 3 years, then I can cross the two, and what'll happen is I'll get a squash that's very, very close to Madison's Cross, but with increased vigor, probably higher production and stuff like that. So that was the purpose of it. It's just something neat kind of do. Madison's Cross by itself is already pretty awesome. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to show you now that they're this size, the baby fruits are starting to show, and I can start culling out the ones that I don't want. And as I do that, I'll show you both the hybrid vigor and why I'm culling the particular plant that I am culling. From that, when I'm done, I'll take and I'll remove some of the lower leaves, and we'll start growing it vertically so I can get some more aeration. It'll be easier to spray it, and it'll be easier to keep the squash bugs off of it and stuff like that too. Plus, it's just kind of neat to grow them vertically. So let's get to it. I'll show you what I'm doing. Let's take a look at this bed first, and you can see the little yellow there. I like this one only in the sense that it's got, looks like pretty fair production, whereas the one over here doesn't have as much. Plus the internodes are shorter, meaning it's more bush-like, and this has got a little bit of a vining characteristic to it. If we go over here, the next one over, there's some fruit kind of beginning to form up here, but it's also got an elongated stem. And then this one over here is not old enough to make a determination yet. So some of them are a little further behind, and that's also something I look for if it's aggressive at growing. In this bed here, I can talk to you about the shape of the squash. If you look at that squash right there, you can see that it doesn't have, it's got kind of a spear-like looking head. I don't like that. It's not consistent with Madison's Cross. This one over here is showing us, well, maybe this one's a little better. I see a neck on there. Over here, you can see a longer neck. It's a little malformed, but that might be that particular squash, so I'm not quite sure on that one if I'm going to take that one out. This one over here is probably going to come out because it's round, or it's going to have that spearhead look to it. So some of these I'm not going to take out for a little while, I'll let them grow. We'll go down here a little bit. This one's got a Madison's Cross look to it right here. You can see it's long like a summer squash, and it's got a little bit of a neck to it. And what you can also see if you look real close here is that it is yellowing into the stem part right here. Let me see if I can bring you in close so you can see that. See that yellowing there? That is an indication of the B gene. And the B gene imparts a very, very bright yellow genetic stamp on the fruit, and even sometimes the leaves. Let me see if I can find some yellowing of leaves in here. Okay, coming down here, the bee gene will throw in some yellowing into even the leaf pattern. But why I like that so much is because the yellowing deters the greening squash virus that makes it look all splotchy and ugly. And so it just creates this very vivid, bright, and often shiny looking squash. Doesn't affect taste at all. I don't know, maybe even improve it. Madison's Cross is very, very good. But a lot of these have that yellowing to it on the stem and in the leaves to a degree. This fruit over here I'm gonna cull, even though it has the bee gene, it's got that bulbous spearhead look to it. Whereas this one here is getting closer to what I'm after. So I'm gonna remove these and I'm gonna keep these that are longer with a neck to them. So I'm gonna go down these two beds here because they're the biggest and the most in a row. And I'm gonna give you an overview of what it looks like, and then I will cull it and string it up, and I'll show you the ones I kept and give you a look of before and after. I do this, it's necessary to get rid of crap. So when you're making selections, you got to have kind of a coldness to you about your selecting, and just realize it's a plant, and even though it's awesome on its own right, it needs to go because it doesn't fit the end goal of producing what I want. If I went through and I tried to save or make use of the various cultivars, which I did, the different plants here, like in the past, a long time ago when I first started breeding, I would keep this line and this line and this line. I'd try to grow them out separately. It became a tangled mess. So you got to learn to be selective and make the hard cut when you need to. So in these two beds, I made 4 selections, strung them up. You can see there, it's going up the string. And I picked the fruit that was the most ideal. Later on, I'll make another selection or 2 and eventually come up with only 1 or 2 lines to continue with. And this is what it looks like now. A whole lot more aeration, a whole lot more room, a lot better to be able to get to the bottom down here. And I just remember something I wanted to show you here. If you look, there is a vining squash in the background of this. It's acorn, I'll go ahead and tell you, but it's a vining, I think it was, yeah, it was vining. So anyway, occasionally I get these, I guess you'd call them suckers, small vines that are coming off the base. And the really good thing about that is that it'll produce a baby squash right at the beginning of the vine. See over here, you got 2 little ones there, a double. Everywhere it branches off, it's going to create another little baby squash. And what's good about that is I can pollinate it, and then I can remove everything but the squash as it grows up. So in other words, increase production. So I'm back over at the zucchini dehybridization I talked about in another video, because behind it is kabocha squash. And kabocha squash is a 2-pound round C maxima. It's different than butternut, which is C machata, and it's different than zucchini and yellow squash, which is C pepo, P-E-P-O. So I brought you over here to look at the kabocha squash here, and you'll look and you'll see that it's about the height here, which is not a whole lot, but it's beginning to fruit, put on little babies. None are flowering yet. But I want to take you to a curious thing that's going on over back with the Madison's Cross regrow I was just talking about. So this bed here, the babies haven't started making here. I'll show you down below. Well, this one is probably going to be a keeper, so I'll probably go ahead and string that one up. But the other two over there, the babies really aren't far enough along, and that one on the far end doesn't have any that I can see right off the bat. Yeah, it does, the very tip. So anyway, I'm going to wait for a little bit longer before I assess these. But I want to bring you to the fourth one here. Now, I don't know if this was a mistake where I accidentally put in a kabocha here, because I did start kabocha and this Madison's Cross regrow at the same time, but they were in completely different trays. So if you look here, remember I said that this regrow, Madison's Cross regrow, has a vining squash in it. So take a look at this here. This is ultra aggressive vining, and it sort of looks like a kabocha, but it is way taller and the vine is a lot thicker. So I'm not sure if this is a kabocha. Look how big the leaves are too. I'm not sure if this is a kabocha just yet, or if it's some kind of offshoot from one of the parents a while back. So we'll see. All right, that'll wrap up this video. The one thing I don't think I've mentioned yet is freeing up these spots by culling some of the Madison's Cross regrow plants frees up space in the raised beds for other breeding work. I've got a couple other squashes that I'm going to show you. So it's really neat, and I appreciate you watching. If you would, like, subscribe, and comment. Love talking to you guys. Until the next video,